In this video, I'm going to go over my plan to add $500,000 to my clients' businesses and capture $50,000 of that for myself. Now, real quick, if you want to implement the plan I'm going to be sharing in this video, I have all the insights packaged into a nice PDF. You can get a free copy of that in the link in the description below. Now, over the past few years of coaching and consulting over 200 different business owners in various backgrounds, I noticed that the one thing that differentiated the ones that made more money working less hours is the tools and assets that they have deployed in their business, or in other words, their system. Now, from the tools and assets that I've deployed into these guys' businesses, it always came down into three different core areas or three different types of systems. The systems always fell into either their tech, which is the digital assets that they use, their team, which is the team structure and their culture. So call this your team. Their personal performance and workflow, which is you as a business owner. And these are very important, and all of these connect to each other. Because if you want to grow a business that is not linked to you working more hours, putting more time and effort, you need to learn how to hire a team, and you need to learn how to deploy digital assets and systems that work on your behalf. And the only way to do that is if you master your personal performance and workflow and you find the time to do these things as a business owner. So you need to know how to actually be productive and focused so you could hire and train a team. Or if you don't want to have a team, you know how to actually build the digital assets and systems in your business to do the work for you. Now, my goal is to implement all the tools in these three core areas into my clients' businesses so they can make more money working less hours, with the aim of specifically building something I like to call the 2-hour business. Now, our goal over time is to reduce the amount of time it takes for us to operate our business. Because at the start of things, everything is linked to you as a business owner. So our goal is over time is to reduce the time and effort it takes for us to operate our business up to a point where we could have it operate in 2 hours a day. And at the same time, we want to make sure that we're scaling the business and we're making more profit over time. That is the whole goal of the 2-hour business. The thing is, many business owners are trading their time for money and they don't even know it. And this is how it looks like. They're constantly firefighting without the systems because they lack the systems and digital assets that does the work for them. And because everything in their business relies on them putting more time and energy, this is what happens exactly. So at the start of things, you might be getting clients, right? You're going to get clients. But because your client capacity or the amount of clients you can service is linked to your ability to produce as a business owner, because you're going to be doing everything yourself. I'm assuming you don't have a team here and you don't have digital assets or systems that work for you. So you're going to scale, and then you're going to reach a point where you surpass your client capacity or your ability to service all your clients really well and give a quality service. What's going to happen is you're going to reach overwhelm. You're going to be overworking, working extensive hours, and you're going to reach a point where it's going to be very hard to deliver a quality service to every single client and put the attention detail that they require and to improve it generally. So you're going to be constantly firefighting, multitasking, working on this, working on that. And then only eventually some of the clients are going to realize that they could get better results elsewhere, or you're not giving them enough time, attention, energy. They're going to crash and churn. They're going to churn, your business is going to crash. And it's only here where most business owners realize that they're forced to build systems or to actually look at improving their personal workflow, hiring someone, or implementing digital assets in their business. Now, the key thing here, or the main objection that most business owners have here, is they're already in the stage of constant firefighting and churning. So it feels already impossible to build up the systems or hire, train a team, because you're already like in your business. And if you stop working, you run the risk of losing even more clients. So here's where I come in. And my plan is to implement the systems for them or build it out for them so they don't need to think about that. They're able to implement the system that I built for them and continuously scale their business so they don't need to work more hours. And here's how it's going to look like. So if you want to increase you want to generate more money working less hours, you want to make sure you have a bigger client capacity. You want to make sure you're handling more clients. And there's three ways to do that. You could either improve your personal performance and workflow, 2, implement systems, digital assets that do the work for you, or 3, hire someone to do the work for you. Those are the only three ways to increase your client capacity without requiring to work more hours. And this is what I'm going to do with my clients. So obviously we're going to help them scale, but once I help them scale, they reach a point before they hit their client capacity, we're going to sit together and build up the system so they can increase their client capacity. So this could be a digital asset, a tool. Maybe at the start it will be a digital asset, but then later we might reach a point where we max out the digital assets. We might need to hire someone. So here's where we might hire. Or there might be a point where we just need to improve their workflow. So that could be the workflow as well. So the key thing here is our goal is to add more profit and more white space. We don't want to be working more hours. We want to be building things or improving our workflow or hiring someone or training someone so that we can get the work done working less hours for our clients. So we can service more clients and make more money working less hours. Now, the key thing here is the tools and assets that I'm going to deploy must do one or more of these 6 things. So number 1, it must reduce the time the business demands on them personally. So they must work less hours. It must reduce their costs. It must reduce the operational complexity of their business. It must be as simple as possible. Number 4, increase their client capacity without working more hours. Number 5, improve their personal production and their team if they have one. And number 6, allow them to spend 80% of their time working on growing the business, not in it. That is the goal of the tools and asset that I plan to deploy. Now, the key thing here is our goal is to do better, not do more. And the reason why most people think of doing more, and when they think about doing more, they think about working more hours, hiring more people, making things more complex. And what happens with that is, sure, your revenue might increase, but what are the costs that come behind it? Instead, I'm going to be focusing on deploying tools that's going to help them make more money, but maintain low costs. So here's how we're going to do it. Instead of working harder and do more, work more hours, we're going to focus on working smarter. So how can we implement a system or a digital asset that'll do the work for us? Instead of focusing on having a bigger team, we're going to focus on having a smaller team, but more impact. Instead of only revenue first, looking at the revenue as a number, we're going to look at profit first. And instead of complexity, we're going to look at simplicity. So this is the ground lines that I'm going to be following in terms of helping my clients make more money in their business. All right, so what is a step-by-step plan? So the step-by-step plan goes like so. So step number 1 is I'm going to sit down with these guys and visually map out the business, because you cannot do anything if you don't have a clear picture of what needs to happen to work less hours. So in any general business, there are 3 core business systems. So 3 core business systems. There's a lead generation system, and then there's a lead conversion system, and then there's product delivery and fulfillment. Now, from these 3 core systems, there's going to be one of this that is a priority or that is taking too much time off your hands. Now, our goal is to look at the map and figure out where are the areas that is the bottleneck in terms of taking too much of our time and stopping us from scaling our business, working less hours. So that's step number 1, having a clear visual map of the business. And we might potentially draw out process diagrams so we have a clear picture of what happens. Diagrams. And that makes it really easy to figure out, okay, this activity is connected to this activity. This is the bottleneck. And here's what we're going to do to make sure that we could make more money working less hours. Now, from this process diagram or this visual picture of the business, where we're going to figure out, okay, where are areas we can immediately regain back time into our day so we could invest that into higher leverage activities in your business. And that gets me to step number 2, which is to streamline or replace with code and media. And the goal of implementing code and media is to regain back time, because digital assets with code and media, they can work for you 24/7 and they don't even sleep. So as long as you have like internet access, they'll continuously work on your behalf. So that is step number 1, is making sure that we can leverage that. And generally, digital assets are not expensive. They're very affordable and cost effective. So the goal of implementing a digital asset is 2 things. It either helps you do the activity faster and better, or it automates it. It just does the work for you in the back end, in the background. And there's multiple forms of digital assets that we could implement. So we could implement a document. We can implement an image that makes things clearer, a video, a model, a swipe file, a database, or an automation. So these are all different forms of digital assets that we could implement. Now, as an example, let's say you're doing sales calls. Instead of doing sales calls, you could do a VSL, like so. That's a VSL. Or you could have like an offer doc. That's an example. Let's say you want to do something better, and instead of you trying to do it from scratch, you have a model to do it, or you have a swipe file that shows the best practices. Or maybe you want to build up a database of information, of critical information that makes it easier for you to execute your work. Or you have an image that shows a clear process and it makes it easier. So there's different ways we could use these assets and different possibilities. Or an automation, maybe Zapier or something like that. So that is step number 2, is streamlining and replacing with code and/or media. And step number 3 is, if they have a team, I'm going to be working with them to empower their team. Or if they have virtual assistant, I'll be working with their virtual assistant. Now, ideally, you want to have your team set up in a way where they could do the work and they could make proactive decisions on the work they're doing without having them run by you all the time, or having them run by the business owners all the time. And we do that by having a solid team structure and resource allocation. And we do that by having a clear delegation, so we know exactly how they need to do the work, and the activity responsibility, so they know exactly which activities is under their responsibility, and everyone else in the team, what's their responsibility, so there's no gray areas. Everyone's doing their work smoothly. And then we want to make sure that everyone is leveraging the full person production of all team members. So all team members are actually producing and doing work. Because if you have too many team members, some people are not working, that is a liability and a cost on your business. The smaller the team, the better. We look for doing better, not more impact. And like so. Now, in order to have a solid team, there's a few things we need to have in place, which are going to work with the business owners. Number 1 is having a KPI tracker. So making sure your key performance indicators, your team has access to that and they know exactly what's going on in their business. And that goes into data visualization and reporting. So they know exactly, okay, so this is the performance we had last month. This is the performance we're having this month. And this is how my work is leading to improving the business. And that allows them to create a high performance culture where they're motivated to improve. Then they need to have the tools to actually execute the task, have the ability to access the data, and then have the standard operating procedures that they could actually do the work successfully without having them to bypass the business owner every single time. So that's step number 3. Step number 4 is I'm going to work with the business owners to immediately reduce the amount of busy work that they're doing. So come up with a personalized plan with them to figure out how can we eliminate the things that's draining their energy and their ambition, and figure out a way where we could regain this energy and funnel all that energy into what's going to progress their business the most. Now, real quick, if you want to reduce the amount of busy work in your day, I have a free guide called the 2-Hour Man's Playbook, where it's going to show you exactly how to reduce or eliminate busy work in your day and get 8 hours work done in 2. You can click the link in the description for that. All right, so next we can go into step number 5. So in order to help my clients do less busy work and do more focused work, I'm going to give them performance systems. And the goal of performance systems is to spend 80% of their time growing the business, not working in the business. And here's what I'm going to be giving them exactly. I'm going to be giving them the 2-hour sheet, which is a sheet that tracks their main needle movers that they need to do consistently to grow their business, either daily, weekly, monthly, whatever. They'll have a sheet that they can reference to so they know exactly that they're doing the things that's going to grow their business. I'm going to give them the 2-hour personal checklist so they know the exact rules that they need to follow, or a decision-making guidelines on how they could make decisions in their business to make more money working less hours and to grow their business the right way. Then I'll give them the war map, which is a personal log of the map that will take them to their next big income goal. So whether they need to build a digital asset, which tools they need to implement, or the team that they need to hire or train, that's going to be all on the war map, so they know exactly what they need to do step by step and stay focused on that. Then the 2-hour operation dashboard, I'm going to give them a simple dashboard so they can oversee their business and see if things are going wrong, how they could fix that, and see that if things are going right, to maintain that in their business. Basically, it's going to ensure that the right things are happening in the background in their business. So instead of them firefighting, trying to make sure everything is going right, I'm going to give them the system so they can focus on growing the business and not working in the business. So that's step number 5. Step number 6, I'm going to focus on building and developing digital assets that get clients with less effort. So there are 3 digital assets I'm going to focus on developing. It's going to be YouTube. So this is a video you're watching on YouTube. It's going to be YouTube. It's going to be email list and intellectual property that I'm going to be creating for my community. And the reason why I'm focusing on these 3 things is because these are highly leveraged. These are highly leveraged. So I could create one YouTube video and it reach many people. And one YouTube video can consistently get me more views over time and get me leads on autopilot. Email, I could send one email and that could reach many people. And intellectual property, I could create one workshop or one tool, let's call this an asset, and I could reuse that asset many times and get results from multiple people. So instead of me spending more time sending more cold DMs, trying to hop on more sales calls, instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to develop the digital assets, so YouTube, email, intellectual property, that allows me to get clients with less effort. And that gets me to step number 7, which I'm going to build the email list. I'm going to invite people every day to join the 2 Hour Man's newsletter, where I'm going to share daily insights on how I'm implementing digital tools and systems to build a business that provides tons of profit and operates in 2 hours a day. Now, if you want to join that, you can click the link in the description. You can grab any of my lead magnets in the bottom and you'll be automatically added to the email list. And also having a list of loyal customers or people that have already opted into trying to solve a problem makes it much easier to sell your offers than trying to send it to cold people. So building a list is going to be a core priority of me and my clients because it's going to allow us to get more clients working less hours. And that gets me to step number 8, which I'm going to let the digital assets sell for us. So no sales calls required. The combination of a YouTube channel, good email list, strong intellectual property, alongside client results is plenty to pre-sell your service without requiring the sales calls. Prospects ideally will be pre-sold on my service and they're going to be ready to buy. So instead of me selling with sales calls, I'm going to sell with a VSL plus checkout page or a offer doc, an offer document that shows exactly step by step what they get, plus close in the DMs. Because you don't need the sales calls. People hop on sales calls for clarity. But if you provide that in your YouTube channel and you have strong intellectual property, people can see the value, you could sell without a sales call. So that's the goal, is to get clients in the door without having us to put in all this hours on hopping on calls with multiple people at once. The only people that we're going to be hopping on calls with is our clients. And that's it. There's no point in hopping calls with prospect. And that gets me to step number 9, which I'm going to be sharing the systems, digital assets, intellectual property that's worked for me and my clients and to other business owners in my private community called the 2 Hour Club. So this is going to be the core place where I'm going to be helping business owners. And this is why I'm going to make it easier and cheaper to get access to me and all my stuff in the 2 Hour Club. So at the time of recording this video, it's going to be $100 a week to join the 2 Hour Club. And I'm probably going to have price raises in the future. But for now, it's the easiest and cheapest to join to get access to all my systems. And members will be able to swipe digital assets, frameworks, business systems, checklists, and more. And all of these systems that I'm going to be building in the future, they'll be able to swipe that, implement it into their business so they can grow their business and have it not linked to the amount of hours that they work. And that gets me to the final step, which is step number 10, which is to build long-term relationships. Now, not everyone has a vision of a business that provides a life of space. It takes time, effort, and patience to build. I'm going to focus on the few that want a 2-hour man business or 2-hour business, a business that provides you a life, space, and tons of profit. That's who I'm optimizing this for. That is the plan. But I'm going to be doing it differently from day one. I'm going to do no maybes. Maybes are the worst types of open loops, and open loops makes it hard to focus. I'm only going to accept a yes or a no. And I'll make sure to put all of my energy into yeses my clients and close the loops on the maybes. Because the more energy I could put into my clients, the better my service, the stronger my intellectual property, the more energy I could put in my YouTube channel, the better content I create to my email list, the more people I could reach, the higher leverage my business is, the more money I make. The more time I spend on people who said, yeah, maybe those are just going to drain your energy and it's going to lose your eye on the ball that's going to actually grow your business. Number two, I'm going to cap spots. I care about delivering results to my clients. I'm going to do my best to help them win. So I'm going to cap spots to maintain quality over quantity. I'm not going to just let everyone in and get as many clients. It's going to be a limited amount of people I'm going to be helping. Number three, no free intellectual property. Now, I've given personally free IP before, and it's made it harder for me to reach my ideal clients. It slows people down. People, when they come across your intellectual property for free, they're more likely going to say, hey, let me use this intellectual property. Let me see if it works, and then I'll get back to you. The problem is generally intellectual property requires effort to apply and actually implement. And if you get it for free, you're probably not going to implement it. You're just going to put it in your free folder of someday you're going to do it. So that is a problem. Is it's going to get a lot of reach, but it doesn't get people to actually invest or get emotionally invested to implement it and get the results that they need to get in their life and business. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to charge so I can reach the people willing to invest and actually implement the things to transform their life and business. Number four, the goal of 2 hours a day. So we get paid for the quality of our work, not the quantity. So my goal is to get to a point where I can work for 2 hours a day and enjoy the money I make. I might work more hours at the start to build and develop digital assets, but after a certain point, I'll let the digital assets do the work for me. So that is the plan. And that's who I'm optimizing for. And I'm going to keep you guys updated on how it goes. Now, real quick, you're probably asking, how are you going to be getting clients into your business in a way that doesn't take you so long? And how are you going to service them? Well, the good thing is the next video on my channel is going to be on the 2-hour funnel. I'm going to show you exactly how I acquire clients and retain clients in 2 hours a day. So if you'd like to see that, like this video and subscribe and pay attention to when I drop that video. I'll see you guys in the next one.